And hello, everyone. How are you doing? It's Dave Bondi. Great to see all of you. I'm in Michigan on this cold night here. We already have hundreds of you watching right now. Thank you so much on X, on Twitter. We have over 100 people watching in the first 5 seconds. That's really cool. I'm also live on Substack. We also have more than a dozen there. We're live on Locals and Rumble and on Twitch. We're live in lots of different places right now. So I appreciate all of you being here. We're also streaming live on YouTube. So thank you, everyone. Tonight, we're going to be focusing on a national story. Everyone seems to be talking about it. Nancy Guthrie, Savannah Guthrie's mother, she is missing. Allegedly, possibly kidnapped or abducted. So we're going to be talking about that. And I'm going to be bringing in just a few seconds our legal analyst, John Hartman, a former police chief I worked with in Pennsylvania. I wasn't law enforcement. I worked with him as a reporter. And I'm bringing him on also because I want to educate a lot of you about how investigations work, because it seems like a lot of people in the media, I've been watching a lot of the coverage, they don't understand how things go, when it comes to behind the scenes on investigations and that sort of thing. So I'm going to bring him into the screen now. Hello, sir.
Hi, Dave. How are you doing?
Great to be here. So, yeah, everyone, if you're watching from Pennsylvania, I got a lot of people in PA. You may know his face. I put you on TV a lot, and you were on TV often. And give a quick bio on yourself. You were police chief, involved in law enforcement in Pittsburgh area. Right. And now you're in investigations, or
right? I have my own investigative agency, and it's going well. Yeah, I was chief of police Southwest Regional. We were in 3 counties in Southwest Pennsylvania, and you and I had the pleasure of working with you on a number of cases because of the size of the department. Number one, in the area we covered, you and I worked together a lot, and I've said this before, is I thought you. Because of that, I think you got a unique view on what actually is happening behind the scenes when these investigations are going forward, what's actually happening behind the scenes. So I was glad to be able to come tonight and talk to you about that and hopefully answer whatever questions may come up on it.
Yeah, and I know we aren't there. We aren't on the ground, but with your background, I think it's important. And for everyone probably knows about this case, but I'm going to put it up on the screen, the flyer. Nancy Guthrie, it's an 84-year-old woman, and Savannah Guthrie is the anchor for NBC News, and her mother, over this past weekend, family went to check on her. They got word that she didn't show up to church. And what is that? That's called you when you were police chief, you got those calls all the time. What are the family wouldn't hear of a loved one and you would send an officer to go check?
Yeah, for any number of reasons. I mean, it could be anything from an elderly victim to a child issue. Yeah, but we would get them and did send a unit out and get boots on the ground in the scene and try to get an assessment on, okay, what do we have here? Number one, and number two is what do we need? And these were particularly intense investigation when it would relate to a missing child or whatever. And we worked a number of those where you had to really get the troops out with the dogs and everything else to find the kids.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a lot of moving parts,
When you're going into that as law enforcement, do you have to be thinking, because I think back at the John Benet Ramsey, when that happened and law enforcement went in and didn't secure the scene, are you treating it as a possible crime scene? What's going through the officers' heads when they're walking into something when they really don't know what it could be? How do they deal with that?
That's really a great question. Number one, I think your starting point is officers are people. I mean, we may be trained in a specific thing, the way you're trained in your field. We're trained in a certain way, but we have the same emotions, the same feelings, the same everything that everyone else has. The added responsibility comes, and you mentioned it, is when we get these calls and we move into these situations, what do we have to do legally to preserve the scene, to make sure that whatever we do, we don't compound the problem? And in the beginning, I mean, you're getting flooded with, it's like trying to drink from a fire hose on what information is coming at you. And then you try to discern, okay, what are the appropriate paths and who do I need to call to assist me? Because in this field, and as in yours, This isn't a one of. I mean, it isn't one person handles everything. There's a team, and
Yeah.
you try to get the team involved, and from a chief of police perspective, try to get as much advice as you possibly can from as many different sources to try to be able to hold true on a course that you'll be successful on.
Yeah.
As it can get pretty involved, if you will. Yeah.
You've probably you yourself or your officers have shown up to homes where immediately probably it's a crime scene or the door's open and there's a body. I remember covering many times with murder suicides. Officers would get called. You probably dealt with those situations yourself too.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you're trained, and I mean, there's certain protocols that immediately go into play, and certain things that have to be done because you think in terms of if you have what is a crime or a potential crime, you want to make sure that as you're moving forward, that whatever evidence you're able to gather, whatever information you're getting, that's ultimately going to be usable in court if you have a suspect. You have to play towards that end. And at the same time, you have to make sure that you're getting a full view. What do I really have here? What's really happening here?
And we're viewing this from literally thousands of miles away. But from what you've seen, what's your take on this case? Because and as a news reporter in my 27 years, I have never covered like a stranger child abduction. These cases are very rare, unlike the movies, right? These are very rare cases. And I talked to you before. This is very unusual, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of unique characteristics of this case that really don't come up in a lot of cases. Number one. Number two is the notoriety that's good for obvious reasons. Has brought a lot more attention onto it. And as you and I had talked, you said, well, that has to make it rough for whoever the information officer is. And that when you're going into the job, and you know that from working with me as chief of police, I knew that I was going to have to be out there talking and trying to explain what's going on. And you're doing that in an atmosphere when you don't even know all the details and all the facts. You don't even know what's coming in. I mean, things happening in the field, you're talking to the press, things are happening in the field, you don't know. And what you try to do is you're getting the information in real time so that you can respond accordingly. This crime has pieces of 1,000 different types of crimes. And so there's an adjustment. There's that midstream adjustment that occurs when you're trying to not only get the job done, but get that information out to the public. Now, it's important that you get the information out to the public, but you have to be careful on what information you're getting out there. I mean, you see it in this case. Someone decided they're going to use whatever information they can glean from the public media and wherever, and come up with this ransom idea. You have to be careful on the information you put out, because that can really impact on the quality of the information you're getting in. You don't want to implant things out there, and you want to make sure that you're not putting things in people's minds. You have a legitimate witness. Well, now all of a sudden, now they're starting to incorporate what you're saying. Oh, yeah, that's right. You've got to be careful with information you put out. And I know, and you and I had dealt with this, and I mean, we worked well together because you had a good sense of that. But and I may tell you things. It's okay. Look, this is what we've got here, but we can't release that yet. And you never did. And we had that kind of professional relationship. There's in any of these cases, there's 1,000 things going on behind the scenes that really aren't ready to go public, and if they did go public, might end up hurting the case, might end up hurting. And when I say hurting the case, I'm talking about a successful prosecution on whoever did this to this woman, and that's ultimately our job. It's we want to make sure that whatever we do, we're not impacting on the victim. So there's a lot of moving parts going on, and like you had said it, you were correct. I mean, we're sitting 1,000 miles away, so we don't know what's going on. We don't know the totality of it. We don't know why certain things are happening. It seems to me, just my view, there's a lot of work going on right now. Number one, there's a lot of agencies going on, a lot of agencies involved in that. That's always good because you got a lot of different skill sets. I was really impressed with the whole digital investigation aspect of it, and how they're piecing those things together on a timeline, being able to create a timeline. And it's really, I mean, we've seen that, and I know you have as well. I've seen that evolution through my career. When I started, there wasn't anything like that. I mean,
how well? Let me. I remember a case with, I don't know if it was your department, but it's amazing. The U.S. Marshals got involved on something. I think it was your area. What that when they come in, it is amazing. And this was back in 2012, 2013, their technology. I can't imagine now, but the U.S. Marshals are working with the locals. They worked with you. How important is it? Because that's amazing what they can do.
Right. Well, it actually started with our department. I actually called the marshals in because we had gotten information that this person was on the run, and what we thought was happening was that we're going to try to cross the border, leave the country, and go into Mexico. So we got the marshals involved. A fantastic organization to work with. I mean, that's an unpaid endorsement. Having worked with those people, they're absolutely fantastic, and they had helped us immensely on that. But yeah, there was a lot of different moving parts going on in that. And that was an instance where you were actually on station, what was actually happening, seeing it actually happening. And I'd be getting information. You'd be sitting right there talking to me. I'd be getting the information in real time. They did a really fantastic job for us.
Yeah. And as a reporter, I grew up covering, my first job at age 22 years old was covering law enforcement. And my job was to give people the news, but I felt a responsibility not to, as I say now, hurt your investigation. There's been so many times, even in Michigan, last August, there was a mass shooting at a church. The guy burned down the church. I knew the name of the guy who did it 4 hours before the media put it out. And it's tempting as a journalist or reporter to put it out to get the clicks. But I know, and I knew I was working with you, obviously, in other law enforcement in Allegheny County or in Washington, PA. It was all about trust, and it was about helping the community and not hurting that relationship. But in essence, you're hurting an investigation. And I don't know if you've been burned by reporters before, but it just, when they do that, it's not doing anyone any good.
Right. I actually had. And the issue was, and there was no need. I mean, and I'm not going to get into details, but there was really no need for that to have occurred. And it did. And it kind of rocks you on your heels sometimes. You're like, well, wait a minute. Why would you release that when it wasn't time to release that? But then I think that's what this is. I mean, I can only imagine the amount on right now down there, not only on a police perspective side, but on the media perspective side. And the media is responding to the public, and the public wants to know. I mean, and I mean, that's why you're there. That's why you're there. That's why I'm there. We're there to, I mean, same general function, provide information to the public. Is this something the rest of the area should worry about? I mean, that was 1,000 times I get that question. Should we shut down schools and so forth? So the public wanting to know, there's nothing wrong with that. I think what happens is we live in a society now where we want immediate gratification, and a lot of times we can't. It isn't that we don't want to, and it isn't that we're refusing to. It's that we can't. We can't because we didn't understand it. And a lot of times you got to worry about the backside of this. You want to make sure that you're not falsely accusing somebody. You want to make sure that you're protecting the rights of whomever, because at the end of the day, this is in a judicial system, and it's going to be reviewed and analyzed and everything. So we've got to watch every step we take. And I think that sometimes the public loses sight of that. They lose sight out of this desire to okay, what's happening now? What's happening now? And clearly, I'm glad people care, but us releasing that information isn't always that easy.
Yeah, like in this instance today, they had a news conference, and the sheriff told us why they don't have video at the house, and it makes total sense now. The family had these Google Nest cameras, but they didn't have their subscription updated, and the cameras were not uploading to the cloud, so they were really just useless. So there's little details like that. In the beginning, Monday, people were going after the sheriff. Well, why don't you get the video? Well, now we know it wasn't there.
It wasn't available. Yeah. And the sheriff's at a position where, when do you release that information? I mean, if you're the bad guy, because that information helps you, doesn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
now you're getting behind the curtain, if you will, on what's actually happening in the investigation. And a lot of times that doesn't play well with the ultimate prosecution of the criminal on
Yeah.
this. I mean, there's a balancing act there, sure.
Um, I think I'm positive this will be brought to a resolution. It would be, great if she is brought home alive, but I believe the law enforcement, the technology that's on this, there will be a resolution, right?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I mean, you go back to when I teach at the academy. I mean, we got Capone on tax evasion. So if you think you're going to get away with something, that's not going to happen. I mean, we're ultimately going to, they're going to, not me, but they're going to end up bringing this to a conclusion. And I hopefully it's going to be a conclusion that the victim is safe. I understand that she has certain medical issues, and that, I mean, I've been on situations like that where you're running against the clock in that, which is providing more and more, this pressure to try to, okay, we got to get this now. But yeah, I don't have any doubt. I mean, and especially with the pedigree of the people that are down there. I mean, you got the best of the best working down there. No doubt. I have no doubt that it'll be resolved.
What's it like? I mean, I've been in several situations. I think Franklin Regional, we had a mass shooting up, and when I was in Pittsburgh, I've been in other situations. I don't know if you've been in like a command center with a bunch of agencies. What's going on? But like behind the scenes, you have FBI, you have DEA, all these people in a
State
room.
police, you have the state police there, county police. Yeah, you have them all.
Is it like a well-oiled machine, or hopefully it is? What's it like behind the scenes?
And everybody has a function there. I mean, that's what you got. It isn't like everybody. It's just not cats running around trying to hurt cats. Not at all. Everybody has a function, and so no, we say well oiled. I mean, as well oiled as any government operation can be, if you will. Yeah. I mean, because if you work together constantly, then it is well oiled. But if it's a situation where you're not used to working together, there may be instances where you might have been able to do something different. But by and large, no, it works well. You've got a lot of talented people. They wouldn't be there if they didn't have that talent base, and they're all working towards the same goal. So, very few times in life do you have that kind of cohesion. And when you have a driving issue like this, I mean, it's just people just work together. And they make sure they work together. And answer your question, yeah, it works well. It works really well.
When they came out immediately and said, like the next day, that this is not looking good, she was most likely abducted. And I know as a reporter that you and others would never say something like that unless it was factual. So when they said that on Monday, they know for sure they're dealing with a crime, probably.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're not guessing. At least I would hope you're not. And I don't think that's what's happening there. That wasn't a guess. I think they had information. Now, what information they're basing that on, we don't know. I mean, we don't have that available to us. But you've got the sheriff who has time in the field, if you will. He has experience set to know what can be said and what can't be. I can say that I try to err on providing less than more, unless I knew that what I was providing would not have a negative impact on the case. If there was a chance, because if you lose, you get one shot at it. If you shouldn't have said it, then okay, that went.
Yeah.
So I was always careful to make sure when I released that information that it wasn't going to have a blowback. It was ultimately going to impact on the investigation.
Had you ever worked with her? I'm sure you have training. It was interesting last night. I don't know if you saw it. Savannah Guthrie, the anchor and her family, she read a note. Mm-hmm. And then today they were saying that there were FBI profilers. Have you worked with like FBI profilers and those sort of people? And they're probably all involved in that. When she read that note last night, she probably didn't just randomly write it. The FBI and people were involved, I'm assuming, because you as law enforcement, you were trying to get into the mind of the perpetrator, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things going on there, and they have a fantastic program with the FBI. I mean, that's what they're known for. But yeah, I guarantee you that they would have reviewed that statement beforehand to make sure that what was being said was what they wanted to be said, because you don't want to put fuel on the fire, if you will. You don't want to create more problems. At the same time, they were trying to get the her message across, the family's
Yeah.
message across. So, and again, you've got to weigh those two things. And I've never seen anything like that. That was really heart wrenching, to be honest with you. I mean, to see that, that was tough.
Before I let you go, what is, and if maybe it's not a fair question to ask, what does your gut tell you? I know maybe that's not fair to ask you, but
I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to be evasive. I'm really not. And you've worked with me
because we're not on the ground. We don't know what's
yeah,
going on.
I don't know enough about what's actually happening down there. What I've got to rely on from my perspective here in Pittsburgh is you got some really talented people down there doing a lot of work right now. I have a lot of faith in the people that are down there. I've seen their agencies in action, and I have no doubt at all that what needs to be done is being done. Now, it may not be at a speed or it maybe not be at a pace that the public always understands, but I think that they're going to come to a positive conclusion.
Okay, last question is, and you just said it,
right?
NCIS, all these TV shows, they run DNA, they get your phone and they run your phone through and they get an answer in an hour. In the public, they may not know better that it doesn't work that way. Even on a high profile case, you can't randomly submit a cell phone and expect to have the whole phone, all the answers in 3 hours. What is it really like when you're on a case and you're putting DNA in or a phone to be searched? It takes time, right?
Yeah, it does. And the bottom line is it depends on what you're having tested and what the test is and what's the turnaround time on it. And naturally, a case like this, it's going to move up to the front. But you got to understand, people's understanding of criminal investigations are what they see on television, and they've got to compress that into 1 hour. Or if you're going to a movie, an hour and 45 minutes. Yeah. And they take an entire investigation. They don't get into the nitty gritty because it would bore you. The nitty gritty of we got to go get warrants, or we got to go get subpoenas, or we got to do all of that stuff. That stuff takes time. They have to run down. If you get the warrant signed, I mean, there's a lot of things that go involved in that, so that it slows down the process. Now it slows down the process, but it guarantees that that everything is being done in a lawful manner. That we don't live in a society that where the police just run ramshackle over people, regardless. That we do not. There are rules that have to be abided by, and those rules sometimes can slow down the process. So to look and say, okay, well, I watched on CSI, and they were able to, okay, that's CSI.
But also you have to be, because if you don't follow the other steps, a defense lawyer down the road could get something thrown out, and it could get a legitimate killer or whatever off the hook. So that's why you got to be thinking. And the officers, even officers, are trained on this, right? The average street officer, that they need to know. Yeah.
Criminal procedure. I mean, the bottom line is, not only could they, it does happen where people literally walk. They don't walk because they were not guilty. They don't walk because they were inherently innocent. They walk because there was a technical error in the case, and that case is kicked. And you want to try to minimize the possibility of that occurring. And you have district attorneys and so forth that are in the background. That are providing advice to the police on that.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. I'm just looking at knowing a lot of people learning a lot in our discussion right here. I think most of them say they realize, NCIS and any of that's not real, but I think it gets frustrating especially when you have the media. I can't imagine what it's like being the chief or being the sheriff when you're having the world staring at you. And at that point, I guess you just got to focus on your job, and you can't let the noise get to you.
Well, yeah, and you and I have talked about that, but that going into it. I mean, you're ultimately gonna be the person. You're gonna be the face, and it's like, okay, so what do we have here? And you have to have an understanding. I mean, when you're standing up, you have to have an understanding. These are legitimate questions. These are legitimate concerns. They might not be something I can answer, but that isn't something you're gonna take personally. Why are they asking this? No. I mean, the bottom line is they're interested in the case. on a case like this, who wouldn't be? And the bottom line is, you've got to kind of roll with it. You've got to learn how to, and I think you learn that when in time. I would say that when you first become a chief of police and there you are dealing with the media, probably have one experience, but as you deal with it, you learn how to roll. They learn you, and it gets a lot easier. Although, like I said, there's a lot of things occurring behind the scenes that really are pulling on that whole process.
Well, you've trained others on this, right? That's part of what you've done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it. It's been a while since we've had you on. I thank you for taking the time. I know you're really busy, and hopefully when it gets warmer, I told you I'm going to visit the Pittsburgh area. We'll have to do an interview in person probably in June.
Okay. All right. And if you need anything else, you give me a call. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We'll see you now. Take care.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
Bye. A great guy right there. Awesome guy. Loved working with him. And he is the former police chief, Southwest Regional Police in Pennsylvania. Covered parts of Washington County, Fayette County, Greene County, maybe Greene County as well, for those of you who live down there. But I want to know what all of you think about this. What do you think is going to happen in this case? Nancy Guthrie. Are they going to find her alive? Are they going to find her alive? Was this a kidnapping? For those of you watching on Substack or Locals, wherever you're watching, let me know what you're thinking about this. That was Chief, I still call him Chief, John Hartman with the Southwest Regional Police Department. And sorry, I'm just looking at some messages here. I think I'm maybe interesting. Some threats coming through. Whatever, it happens all the time. Anyway, she won't be found alive, says Lady is Shy. There was a 5 p.m. deadline today, but we don't know if that was real or not. We don't know if that ransom note was even real. They did arrest someone today. They arrested someone in Los Angeles who was trying to say they had her and they wanted ransom, but it wasn't. It was a fake. And they arrested that person, and they should arrest that person for causing this trouble. And that person should go to prison. Yeah, causing that trouble. So what other questions do you have about that? Linda on YouTube says, I doubt they'll find her alive if no ransom requests have been made. Well, we don't know if the ransom requests are real or not. That's something that we just don't know. Someone else on YouTube says she's been dead for a while now. I mean, we don't know that at all. And someone just said John Dale Hartman has his face. Yeah, well, I got the color in my monitor back here. We got our new studio going on, everybody. So tonight I wanted to just focus on the story that everyone's talking about. Just very, very, very interesting indeed. I want to know your take. No one on Substack is leaving any comments. You can comment on Substack if you like. I welcome you to. Yellow guy with blue hair. They were in Cairo, I think. Yeah. So I've been paying close attention to this case. There's obviously dozens of people missing throughout the country that are not getting the attention of the media. And the only reason this case is getting the attention is because of who her mother is. If her mother was not Savannah Guthrie, she would not be getting this attention whatsoever. I'll admit that is 100% true. There's a lot of people who deserve to be getting this attention, and they're not. So that's just how it is. I have an update coming in on this investigation. Law enforcement is now searching the neighborhood of Annie Guthrie. She is the other daughter of Nancy, Savannah's sister. They're searching Nancy's house again. Or no, they were last night. So there's really no new information coming on this right now. So Chief Dale Hartman, the reason I had him on was basically just to tell you, what goes on behind the scenes in an investigation. I thought it was really cool to get his take on things because obviously there is so much going on with law enforcement. Okay. We have a new video just coming in. Breaking news. Savannah Guthrie's brother has just released a brand new video. Okay, I'm going to put this on the screen. Okay, Substack. If you would like to comment on Substack, please become a paid subscriber, okay? I think I need to open it up to everybody, but I encourage you to become a paid subscriber because that's how I keep doing the work that I'm doing. I am working night and day, literally, breaking a lot of stories when it comes to school corruption. I thought I'd take a break and talk about this story, today, this national story that's been happening. So let me show you. This is just moments ago. This is Cameron. This is the brother of Savannah Guthrie. No, hold on. Who is this here? This is not. Hold on. This is Savannah Guthrie's brother, Cameron. He just sent a message out to the people who he believes might have his mother. I'm going to go ahead and play this. I have not listened to this yet. I'm going to play this right now. Let's take a listen.
This is Cameron Guthrie. I'm speaking for the Guthrie family. Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you. We haven't heard anything directly. We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you, and we are waiting for contact. So
that's his statement right there. And on the screen, it said something about deep fakes. That was my software. So forget about that. This is a real video that was just released a short time ago. So once again, I'm going to replay this for you. This just came out minutes ago. Cameron, this is Savannah Guthrie's brother, with a plea to the person who may or may not have his mother. Take a listen.
This is Cameron Guthrie. I'm speaking for the Guthrie family. Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you. We haven't heard anything directly. We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you, and we are waiting for contact.
Okay, well, there you go. So there's been no contact made, apparently. So maybe this was not a kidnapping for ransom. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was something more. What are you thinking in the comments on Locals on Substack? What are you thinking? Become a paid subscriber to comment on Substack. I would really appreciate it if you could. Lady is Shy says, my aunt has an implant in her heart that the doctor office gets alerts if she goes wrong or takes wrong stops. Dave, I sent you a video yesterday about it. Okay, that's not related to this story, but I will take a look at that. Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube right now, wherever you're watching on, let me know. So that video was just released moments ago, and he's basically reaching out to the person who he believes, might have his mother. And that might be the best scenario in this case, that someone has her alive. That would be great news. But they've searched the area and they have not found her or her body. This video just released a short time ago. So as Chief John Hartman said on his statement when I interviewed him, he believes this is going to come to a resolution. It's going to come to a resolution one way or another. Hopefully she is alive. That's what we're hoping for right now. So yeah, really, really, really interesting. I do want to bring up a story that I brought up earlier today, and you may have seen this story about a Michigan school district. There is a Michigan school district that is banning ICE, Immigration's Customs Enforcement. They're banning ICE from school property. Okay. And the school board president, she said that ICE had arrested and detained parents at a school bus stop in Ypsilanti, Michigan. It turned out it wasn't true. It never happened. So my message to all of you is be very careful of what you hear in the media. And I do give credit to the Detroit News, Fox 2 in Detroit, WXYZ. They did get they did put the right information out, but the school board members still said the wrong information, which led people to, not know the truth about what was going on, that ICE did not detain parents at a bus stop. Lady is shy, and other people are commenting right now that ICE cannot be banned from a school. I didn't think they could. They're federal agents. I thought they could go into a public building if they wanted to, but I could be wrong. I'm not an expert, and I do know they need a warrant to go into your home, which I absolutely 100% support. They can't just be barging into your home without a warrant. Some of you may be upset about me with that, but you cannot, unless there is a reason why someone is dying or something's happening as to why they need to be in someone's home, without a warrant. So anyway, so that is the information we have going on right now. I really appreciate all of you being here. Let me know if you have any other questions. Yeah, the supremacy clause, according to Lady is Shy. That's what that is. Thank you, everyone. If you have any questions, let me know. I've been doing lots of stories lately about schools in Michigan. There is so much going on with schools, not just in Michigan, but across the United States. So many issues involving schools. In Saginaw County, Michigan, they arrested a substitute teacher. He was possessing, let's just say, very bad, explicit child material. I don't want to say it here because I don't want to get banned. I know whenever platform, I know I won't get banned on Locals or Substack, but I got to be careful on X and YouTube. They arrested a substitute teacher who was in possession, allegedly, of extremely inappropriate, disturbing material. I think you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, the Grand Blanc School District, they walked out. There's many school districts that are walking out of class because they are upset with ICE, Immigration's Customs Enforcement. My question is, how many of these kids actually really know what's going on? And if they do, more power to them to actually be involved, and I give them credit for that. But the problem is that the teachers, many of the teachers and the school staff, they are also getting involved and supporting what's going on, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. That's my opinion. I'm giving my opinion, everybody. I know some people don't like it when I give my opinion, but that is my opinion. So I want to show it to you. It was the Ann Arbor, Michigan School District. They put out I don't know if I have it here. No, it was Walled Lake, Michigan. This is a graphic, a post from Walled Lake Education Association. This is the teachers union in Walled Lake, Michigan. They are basically calling for protests. They said they're standing with the students and parents and teachers in Minnesota. The National Education Association is fighting back against what they say is inappropriate behavior by ICE in Minnesota. And I'm not going to judge anything on that, but what I'm going to say is I have talked to a lot of teachers and people who are teachers in the teachers union, and they're telling me that they do not want their union dues and their union money going to causes that are not benefiting them. If I belong to a teachers union, I want my union dues benefiting me and helping me as a teacher, but also helping the children with education. For example, here in Michigan is one of the absolute worst. I think we're 44th out of 50 in the nation when it comes to literacy. You would think the teachers unions might be protesting or marching for that, not for ICE. Someone just said Minnesota. The Waterford schools walking out as well. Okay, I didn't know that. Well, okay, yeah. So much going on in the news, everybody. I really want to appreciate all of you for being here, and I hope you enjoyed tonight. We didn't really dig deep into any new information. But we broke, some of the news that's happening in Arizona. I'm just trying to see right here if I'm missing anything, any new information that's happening. Just that new information that was released by the Guthrie family, just wanting to know more information or wanting to talk to the possible kidnappers in this case, if there actually are kidnappers out there, which at this point, we don't know. We don't know if that's the case or not. So I'm going to let all of you go. Today is Thursday. For those of you who are watching me right now, and if you are not a paid subscriber, I encourage you to do so. If you're watching on Substack, hit the button at the bottom of the screen where you can comment. You can click that and sign up. It's $6 a month. You can become a paid subscriber and support my mission and my work of independent journalism. If you're watching on X right now, the old Twitter, you can go to my profile and sign up as a paid subscriber. You can do it month by month. You can quit whenever you want, but it really helps me to keep doing my investigations. I'm going to be going to Washington, D.C. later this month and going to be reporting on a Supreme Court case out of Michigan. I don't know if you remember this, but in Isabella County, Michigan, there is a Supreme Court case out of Michigan where counties are basically somewhat stealing people's homes. It's way more complex than that, but I'm going to be headed to Washington, D.C. To cover that story, and all of the paid subscribers, everything that you pay for your subscription, I put back into the business. I put back into travel. I put back into the equipment. I put into research. And I have some people who are working for me now. So I'm doing that as well. So I'm just trying to help further what we are doing here on Keeping It Real. Okay, everybody. I'm going to talk to you later. Have a good night. Great seeing all of you. Amen, everybody. Stay safe and stay warm.